Hello and welcome to another episode of Matthew Answers the Internet, that monthly show where I peruse the internet for your burning board game questions and do my best, with your help, to answer them here. And the first question I have this month is admittedly more of a statement. When other players don't get invested in the game, it kind of ruins the experience for me. I was actually talking about this topic very recently with my friend Michael Murphy. You can check out his opinions and thoughts on this very topic right over there. But caring about the game, caring about what's happening, caring about the story we're telling at the table really matters to me. Being invested in the game that's going on, no matter what the game is, no matter how ridiculous it is or how themeless it needs to be or anything like that, caring about what's happening for me makes the game. And it doesn't have to be this big thematic game where we learn about these characters and get invested in them with our empathy and our sympathy, and we care about them and worried for these characters. It can be the driest of Euros, the most themeless of card games. But if people do not care what's happening, there's no point in playing. And when one person at the table just doesn't really care what they play, oh, I'll just play this card, whatever. I don't care if I win, I don't care if I lose. That's one of the biggest downers at a table. It really is. I feel like investing in the game, it's why we like sports. You know, you get to know the people, the characters, the history, the comebacks, the underdogs, and you invest in the game. And the more you invest in the game, the more you get out of the game. I know you don't owe it to the game, but I think you owe it to yourselves to become invested in the magic circle, the illusion of the importance. Because when we come down to it, yes, these are all boxes full of cardboard. Nothing's real, nothing really matters. But if you can invest in it, you can allow yourself to enter the illusion that the game is creating. If I lose this money, oh, I guess it's going to be terrible. Oh, if we pull another card and it's Rome, we're going to lose this game. Oh no, what's happening next? Those moments, to me, if people can invest in the game, allow themselves to enjoy the game in that way, I do think it makes the experience better for everyone at the table, including you playing. I do struggle with it sometimes. I don't want to look silly. I don't want to feel silly. But sometimes the sillier the game, the more invested you get in it. I tell you, some of the best gaming experiences I've had have been really invested in things that do not matter. But it was fun. So this is something I'm really passionate about. I really do believe this. Giving yourself the best chance and everyone around you the best chance to enjoy a game by just allowing yourself to enjoy it. What are your opinions? What are some games that you invested in and you got really into? I want to know about those. What are those games that you want to play where everyone's really into it? Let me know below. But before the next question, here's a quick word by the sponsor that helped make this video possible. Hey, this episode has been made possible in part by limited edition Marvel gaming accessories from Upper Deck, made of futuristic space-age materials that I couldn't even begin to understand. These playmats and card sleeves protect your cards from crumples, tears, stains, and wildebeest attacks. Also could be tears, not tears, though I suppose both. Plus, unlike me, they look good while they do it, featuring fan favourite Marvel superheroes and villains like Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, Black Panther, Black Widow, Wolverine, Venom, Thor on a unicorn, and a bunch of others like Iron Man. Did I mention Iron Man? Trick question. The spirit of Iron Man lives in us all. Additionally, various vibrant playmats are also available, supporting Wolverine, Spider-Man, Thanos, the Avengers, and a host of others. These and more gaming accessories are available at local game stores and through the link in this video's description to upperdeckstore.com. Use them to enhance your games while also protecting them from the continual onslaught of life's injustices. Or at the very least, pizza grease. And the next question, with a question mark and everything this time, what are great board games you prefer to play at a board game cafe or at a convention instead of owning it to play it more? I found that question quite interesting because there are certain games that I really love that I just don't own because I just don't feel like I need to own it. I love Dark Moon. I think Dark Moon, fantastic game of deduction and backstabbery and rolling dice, and you say, oh, I haven't got any fours. I do have a 4. I'm also a traitor. Haha, fantastic game. I also love Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, a game where you are, I am not the murderer, I am the murderer, absolutely I am. I love those games, but I don't own either of them because they play better, I think, at those bigger player counts where everyone's at a convention, and I do think that someone will have it at the convention, so I don't need to own it. I feel the same way about Downforce, my favourite racing game. I love Downforce, it's such a wonderful game. 6 players can get around betting on these things. All of these games, I will say right now, are better when you invest in them emotionally. You get more out of them. I'm passionate about that one. But I don't own Downforce because I'm probably not going to play it 2-player with my brother at home. Really, for me, that's the thing, right? Conventions are places for games with higher player counts. I can play all the 2-player games at home, but at a convention, I want to play Magical Athlete. I want to play it with the most amount of people. That's a ridiculous game if you get invested in it. Another convention game, again, that I love at a convention, especially to play when everyone's playing really deep, heavy, thinky Euros, is Coconuts, the game where you're flinging coconuts into different cups. I played that once at a convention, and everyone who was playing all these heavy games was looking at us going, they were thinking one of 2 things. They were either thinking, who are those idiots? Or they were thinking, man, I wish I was playing that game instead of this one. What are the games that you don't own but you love to crack out at a convention? What are those go-to convention games that you can't wait to play with a bunch of people? Let me know below. The next question is literally one of those perennial questions of, has 2021 been a bad year for board games? Has current year been a bad year for board games? It's something I always see in around December in the current year. Has this year been a bad game for board games? Has this year? Well, was this year but worse than last year? The first thing is a bad year compared to what? Compared to last year? What if last year was a terrible year and this year was 5% better? Is this a good year then, or a bad year? Is it a bad year compared to 1252? 1863? 1994? Because by that metric, yeah, this year's been one of the best years ever for board games. In fact, every year for the past 20 years has been one of the best years for board games. And I do understand, right? Some years will have 10 games come out that you absolutely love. 10 of your favourite games all came out in the same year. What a year for board games. But then Jane over there didn't like any of the games that came out this year. And Billy over there liked 60. It's subjective is the main issue with has it or has it not been a bad or a good year for games. With so many games coming out, I think honestly what it comes down to is, have you managed to play the games that are the games that you are going to love this year? That's a bigger issue for me, and a bigger issue every year, because I always see Rado. He does his best of the year video, but then he does another best of the year video in May, because he's finally caught up with the games that came out. And that keeps on going further and further back. Maybe come out in June of 2022 this year, because there's so many games. And I am of the strong belief that very few bad games get made, because people don't want to lose money on their games. I really don't think that many bad games get made. I believe that. But I did also go and get some hard data for us to analyse. And by analyse, I mean that in the loosest of terms. As far as I can tell, not a single game from 2021 is in the top 100 games. The highest ranked game is Sleeping Gods at 265, then Cascadia at 359, followed by Ankh at 498. Does that make it a bad year? Not one game is in the top 100, especially because the next top highest game from 2021 at the time of recording this is The Crew Mission Deep Sea, 508. But from my perspective, The Crew Mission Deep Sea, as I've mentioned before in this video, is my favourite game of all time. For me, great year in board games. My favourite game of all time came out this year. That's got to be pretty good. In many ways, I feel like when there's a bad year, quote unquote, for board games, I feel like it's what you can get out of it as well. Maybe you look back at older games and some things that you've never got the chance to play from the 2 or 3 years previous, because you didn't play all of them. No one did. No one can. So maybe if this year's hotness doesn't grab you, then you can go back and try and look at some of the hidden gems from years gone by. So what do you think? Was this a good year? A bad year? An average year? Worse or better than previous years? What was your favourite games of the year? And what was your favourite board gaming year of all time? Which year do you look at your collection and go, man, I loved 2010, turns out, which is what my collection looks like. I've got a big thing for 2010. I tell you, 2012, ooh, yeah, what a year. And the last question I have for you this month, nay, this year, is who here tracks their plays and why do you do it? Tracking your board game plays using an app. Lots of people do it. I don't. But I know why, I think I know why people do. And that's cold, hard data. People love data. Everyone wants the facts. You want to know the statistics, the numbers. How many times did I play this game? Who was my favourite designer this year? What kind of game was my favourite? Maybe I'll learn something about myself. I played a lot of card games this year, but I never think I like card games. Maybe I'll look for card games in the future. Data. Yeah. It's a sexy word. One of the things and one of the reasons I think I want to start tracking my plays, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start tracking my plays January 1st. Coming up. We'll talk about New Year's resolutions in the next episode. But yeah, I'll do it. I'll track my plays for a year, see what I learn about myself. That might be interesting. I honestly think one of the really cool things about tracking your plays or using a board game app, other than the raw data, is just to be able to look back and go, oh, I did play that game. Yeah. Oh, I remember playing that. That was fun. I should play that again. Looking through and having your memory jostled about in your brain a bit. Get the noggin jogging a bit when you're looking at your things and going, oh, I guess I have played that. I've annoyed many people who are close to me by denying that we have played games. Paula ascertains that we absolutely played The Resistance together. I don't remember. As far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty sure I've never played The Resistance. Paula, she thinks different. We've had arguments about that. So below, let me know what are the best apps that you use to track your games and what data do you get from them? What do you get out of tracking them? Is it just a habit? Is it something for the data? Is it something so you can analyze your board game collection? Maybe you look at your collection and go, scrolling through, I haven't played that game in a few years. Maybe I should get rid of it, probably. Let me know all of that in the comments below. And to continue your journey on with Watch It Played, follow one of these videos. What's going on in them? Who can say? Click on the link and you can carry on with us. I hope you have a fantastic end of the year, however you celebrate, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.